Hey everyone, SweetJohnnyCage here, back with another guide for Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. This time I'm going to show you the location of all 3 Kujata Divine Intel Shrines in the Gongaga region, as well as how to defeat Kujata as a summon fight in the VR training simulator towards the end of this video. I want to preface this by saying I tried my best to take things as slowly as possible here in the Gongaga region in terms of building this guide, because getting around this region is a bit of a nightmare, especially if you're just trying to look at a map and say, okay, I want to go from here to here. It's not always a straight line. In fact, it hardly ever is a straight line, and you often have to rely on mushroom bounce pads with your chocobo to launch yourself in a certain direction, and looking at those pathways on a map does not make any sense. So hopefully I took this slowly enough, but if you do have any questions, please feel free to leave a comment. I'll do my best to help you out, as I always say. I'm going to leave it here with the VO. Just get these 3 shrines, input the button sequences, and then when you go to fight Kujata, you can fight him in its weakest state, or her in their weakest state, and then that's the fight that I'm going to do. Just easier to do it that way. So if you're just looking for the fight, check the timestamps, or check the timestamps for any of the particular shrines, and you should be okay. All right, see you in a bit.
We're in dangerous territory.
Legend holds that each time Kujata appears before humans, it takes on a different form. It's been seen wreathed in raging flame, cloaked in chilling ice, and bathed in crackling lightning. For this reason, the people of Gongaga have worshipped it as an embodiment of nature.
No wonder we won.
Kujata as a boss fight is really interesting. At a base level, it is a non-elemental boss. However, throughout the fight, it will crash into runes that it creates and then become an elemental boss. So it basically creates its own affinities, and you need to keep an eye on that throughout the fight. It's really easy to tell what affinity it currently has. It changes color, gets some effects. It's really easy to tell. But the first thing we're going to do is we're going to build up some ATB, and then we're going to assess the boss as always, and we can see that it's non-elemental, but it does switch between fire, ice, and lightning alignments, and dealing a certain amount of damage by exploiting its elemental weakness will pressure it and remove its current affinity. However, if you leave it unchecked, it will continuously get stronger and then use its ultimate ability, Try Disaster. This boss is never going to get to that point. It does take a little while to kill just because you have to be very mindful of its affinities. So, Thunderous Stomp, despite the name, does not do any lightning damage. This really is thunder in the true sense. It's just a shockwave. It's not actual lightning. Okay, so this first rune, the boss crashes into it, and now it has lightning affinity. So you can simply touch the touchpad, press that in to reassess the boss without casting the spell. And because we have assessed it, we will now be able to track its affinities and its corresponding weaknesses. So having spell materia for all the elements is very, very helpful. When it has lightning affinity, it will be weak to wind. So that is what we need to focus on. I'm using Cloud Barret and Red 13. I really like this combo. Red 13 builds up ATB really quickly. However, when the boss has this lightning affinity, it can be kind of tough to get in on it. The boss will use Voltaic Charge, which is a sort of bull rush, but it does, sort of like spark lightning all over the place as it's doing it. So you got to make sure you back off in time. You should come in here with leveled up materia, preferably like level 2, so you can cast Fira, Blizzara, Thundara, and Arawa. I didn't really follow that methodology. It certainly makes it easier, but I personally don't rely on magic that much in this game. But as you've been playing through the game, you should be leveling up everybody's weapon spheres. And as you do that, you'll be able to unlock abilities on everybody's weapon that stays across every single weapon that they equip. And they are basically low-level elemental attacks. You can use those in this fight just like they were spells, and you'll be able to remove the affinity. So you want to use the air spells while it has a lightning affinity. Again, watch out for Thunderous Stomp. This is something that you can just back away from. Don't recommend trying to block it. It's just going to do a ton of damage. But eventually, the boss will choose another affinity. It will spawn another rune and then jump through it. So when you see this big roar happening, that's what's coming up next. Now it's running into an ice rune, so now we need to use fire spells. Luckily, most characters have a fire sort of spell locked on them at all times. So Cloud does have Firebolt Blade. Red 13, a couple of his abilities have fire affinities, so you're kind of cool there. Chilling Horn is really annoying to deal with. It shoots a ton of ice pellets at whatever character Kujata is targeting, and those deal a lot of damage. You basically just have to block when that's coming, and it will track you, so you kind of can't just like stand there and like move around and just try to avoid it. You really just kind of got to block unless you already have a really big head start on it. At this point in the fight, you should have some synergy abilities. Highly recommend casting those. This way you can build your limit levels. That's going to be really, really important. Anytime you fully stagger the boss, it will have its affinity removed. So you can go back to not focusing anymore on elemental damage. Unfortunately, I didn't have a limit break ready to go at this point. So I just focused on building ATB with Cloud. We're going to cast Infinity's End. Go over to Red 13, start building ATB. When you're using Red 13 in your party, keep an eye on his Vengeance meter. When you are not controlling Red 13, the AI will actually start to block more and build it for you. And so you can use that to your advantage by just not using Red 13 for a while, let the Vengeance bar build, and then as soon as you're ready, go back to Red 13, spend that Vengeance meter, get that extra damage, get that HP replenishment. He does so many extra things while in Vengeance mode. It's really, really important that you use it. All right, so once the boss roars again, it's going to change its affinity one more time. It's going to run through another rune. So try to expend your ATB here. Get ready for the next thing. Now it has fire affinity, which means we need to use ice spells. When Kujata has fire affinity, it will almost constantly be leaking fireballs, and those can all interrupt you. So especially when it's shaking here like a wet dog, those fireballs will fall and they will begin interrupting you. And they also leave behind some fire on the ground, so you have to be very, very careful. Luckily, I had both fire and blizzard materia on my character, so I was able to do some extra damage. Blazing Horn is very similar to that ice spell that I was talking about before, where it just shoots a giant fireball out of its horn. Luckily, it's one fireball that you can just roll away from. It's not like the ice one where it's constantly peppering you. Flaming Thrash is something that you want to try to get away from. The boss will spin around and just knock you away. I did have a limit break here with Cloud. I felt like I was pretty close to like ending the fight at this point, so I figured let's just use it. Ascension is really strong, and Cloud does build limit kind of fast in this game. So I figured worst case, we'll use it here. I'm not really close to pressuring the boss all the way, so otherwise it's just going to sit there and get wasted. And as you can see here, Barrett's just sort of peppering away at the boss, and he's going to take it down. If you do get 2 ATB with Barrett, feel free to use Maximum Fury, and the boss should go down no problem. As you saw there, it never got to use Try Disaster. We consistently knocked it out of its elemental affinities by using the opposite spells, and it was an easy fight. But that's it. All right, if you have any questions, please feel free to leave a comment, and I'll do my best to help you out, like I said. If you're interested in supporting the channel monetarily, please consider becoming a channel member by clicking the join button below this video. You can also leave a super thanks by clicking the heart icon below this video. Don't forget to join the community Discord. The link for that is in the description below. As always, I'm SweetJohnnyCage. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.